This is a Boston 25 weather alert.
Hey guys, we're on weather alert and I'm meteorologist Tucker Antico breaking down what we're tracking right now here. Glad to have you on, and you can see behind me we have a winter storm warning in effect for almost the entire area, leaving off just the Cape and the islands where our storm will not produce quite as much snow. But for most of us, this is going to be a shovelable snow, and certainly one you'll probably want the snowblower for in some spots just to help you clear it. As we get into the storm, temperatures, they're going to stay cold, but exactly where you are will determine if you're going to see a more powdery or wetter snow. And right now, I believe that if you're on the southern end of this, south of the Pike, it'll be, we'll call it normal to a wet snow. If you're north of the Pike, this should be pretty powdery for you. It's a little bit easier to shovel and move around. A little harder if you're farther south, but we'll talk about how snow amounts will play into that too here. I want to show you our timeline. We're here in the evening right now. It's overcast, it's chilly. Some of you will see some flurries moving in here in about the next hour or so. Tonight, though, between 10 and midnight, we'll call it 9 and midnight, as the storm is beginning to approach right now, we'll begin to see snowfall. It'll take about an hour for things to really get going, but after that first hour from the onset of snow, it'll be coming down pretty good for a few hours this evening, eventually ending closer to 7 to 10 a.m. And then in the afternoon tomorrow, I expect we're going to see clearing pretty quickly. So here's our radar right now. You can see some of it beginning to show up out here, though a lot of what you're seeing is not reaching the ground yet. So even though you're seeing those colors take over the state, it's pretty dry outside. We need a little bit more to actually make it, but you could be seeing a few stray snowflakes out there. I'll bring you to our regional radar as well, and we can take a look at the entire storm. You know, earlier this evening we were cutting in around 3 o'clock, and I was looking at this thing centered out here closer to Michigan, southern Ontario, and Ohio. You can see that it has since moved pretty quickly to the east, pretty far in our direction, and most of the storm occurring right now is in Pennsylvania and upstate New York. A couple things to note here though, and as I go through my forecasting, you know, we use weather models, we use data and computers to help us determine what's going to happen, but you know, it's really important to always get an idea of what is actually happening. Put the computers aside and use some more old school meteorology, or at least since weather radar has existed. And what I'm telling you, I'm concerned about here is that you can see if we actually, you know what, I'm going to pause this and circle it for you so you can get a better idea of what I'm pointing at. What I'm looking at right here, ready? We're going to circle it out between southern Michigan down through Ohio. Can you see that right around Cleveland, right out here? There you go. That's dry air being ingested into the storm. And you know, on Thursday, we thought it'd snow a little bit more than it did, and the reason it did not was because dry air went straight into the storm and it began to evaporate the snow in the sky before it was even able to fall. I believe we're going to see something reasonably similar with this one, and this is the first sign that that may be occurring already. So that's led me to believe we may see slightly less snow than some of those first forecasts, but you know, we've been talking about this risk really the entire time, so you shouldn't be too surprised if you've been following us recently. Snow's moving in here, 10, 11 o'clock. We're looking at snow across most of the area. Remember, it takes about an hour to really get going, but once it does, we'll see some snowfall rates as high as 1 inch per hour overnight. But take a look at our future cast here around 5 a.m. You're actually seeing dry air completely inundate the southern portions of our region, and there may be some sleet around that too. You may be hearing some clicks as those ice pellets fall around. Farther north, I believe it's a better bet to see more snow, and that's just because we don't have as much dry air that's going to reach up there. Once we get to about 10, 11 a.m. though, I mean, take a look at that. We're already clearing pretty quickly. Still some clouds in the sky, but really not going to be a storm that lasts all day. And if you have Super Bowl plans in the afternoon, you know, it's not going to be a big storm that causes issues outside of the snow, so you should be fine to get where you're going. And by that, I mean the wind is not particularly strong tomorrow. I'm not expecting flooding. The storm as a whole isn't very strong, but it is working with a decent amount of moisture, which is how we're able to still get snowfall amounts on the moderate end of things. Skies then clear. We're going to stay clear heading into the week. So how much snow falls? That's been the million-dollar question. And one of the things I'm seeing again is that dry air, which has led me to believe we're going to see less snow than some initial forecasts, but not much less than what we were telling you originally. Most areas are likely to end up in about the 3 to 6 range. Could be a little bit closer to 6 than 3. That 3 range is going to be some of our southernmost areas. But we are still going to see amounts on the moderate end. You'll have to shovel wherever you are. There will be plowing wherever you are. The areas I'm most confident in seeing snow are along the Massachusetts-New Hampshire border. Going to be a little powdery up there too. With that powdery stuff, you know, it's easy for that snow to pile up, so you don't need as much moisture. Even though you're more removed from the storm, it's just going to add up a lot easier. So 6 to 8 up there shouldn't be as much dry air, which helps those totals stay a bit higher too. But I would not be expecting this to be anything near a blockbuster. Wake up tomorrow, shovel, or give it a little time to stop falling, and you'll be fine by the time we get to the afternoon. Your morning, though, temperatures stay cold. Afternoon, temperatures stay cold, too. I wouldn't expect temps much above 30, 31 degrees, and you know what that means is we're not going to see much melting. Got to get to about 33, or at least have some sun. We don't have either tomorrow, so this snow, it's going to hang around with us for a little bit. As far as road conditions, I mentioned the afternoon things look better. I would still take it slow if you're driving around in the early afternoon. I expect those side roads may take a little bit longer to clean up, but it's helpful, again, that at least we don't have those extra factors in here. I'm not expecting power outages. I'd be pretty surprised if we saw more than very, very isolated power outages. And again, flooding, not really a huge concern at the coastline. But like I said, let me give you one more look at radar. We'll wrap this up here in a minute. And of course, if you have any questions, you can reach out to us online. And with our storm right now, you're seeing also that sleet I was talking about. Thought I'd bring this up again. Out in Pennsylvania, you're seeing that in the southern end of our storm, those purple colors, and that is partially due to dry air getting in, and part of the reason I have concern with this for us producing, it's just a little bit less snow. Up across upstate New York, we got decent snow falling right now. You're seeing that pretty smooth color on radar. That tells us there's really not much mixing out there. It's coming down pretty good. And the storm does extend all the way out to the Great Lakes region. So for our mountains farther north in northern New England, that says this will be a slow, nice, 3 to 6 inches of powder. So if you got skiing plans, you'll be fine. And while I have you here, I can show you, because I know it's a busy time for skiing. I'll show you our current snow depth in the region, and you're seeing those mountains in northern New England doing pretty well. Anywhere you got those purple colors, that's a foot of snow on the ground, and anywhere you're seeing those pinkish colors, that's where you get closer to 18 inches, 2 feet. So ski country doing well. This will help to bolster that. Not a ton of snow on the ground in southern New England, but what falls is going to stick around. Our temperatures, I'll show you our 7-day too, just because I got you here. Temperatures are going to stay on the colder side of things. And I got one other thing to show you on the 7-day. If you've been watching, you know that we've been talking about the potential, not just the potential, but the expectation of a more active weather pattern. And as we head later into the week, we are tracking a storm here on this upcoming Thursday. And before then, you can see these temperatures stay low. Actually, having snow on the ground keeps temperatures low. But the storm on Thursday is one that we're going to be watching for the potential at some rain, snow, perhaps some freezing rain and ice. It looks like a really messy one. Pretty quiet until then, but Thursday and into your Valentine's Day, that's what you want to be watching after this one is out. So just wanted to give you an early heads up. And that one does look like it could bring some flooding. We should be looking at about a new moon then, so tides will be a bit higher. More winds blowing that ocean on air, potential for power outages depending on how much snow we see or even ice. But Thursday looks like a real messy day, and that we'll be watching closely. This storm, pretty straightforward in terms of snow. Give you one more look at this snow plot, then I'll let you guys go. Just want you to know that you'll be fine tonight. Just have a shovel ready. Hopefully you've tested the snow blower out. We haven't needed to use them much here recently, and if you let that gas stay in there, the fuel, that can sort of clog the ignition. So I might want to check on that now just in case, especially if you live a little farther north. But here we are, lower end amounts compared to some of the other forecasts you may be seeing out there, closer to 4 to 6 inches, some areas as little as 3 if you're really closer to the coastline down south there, and then 6 to 8 along the Massachusetts-New Hampshire border. So with that, I'll let you go. Hope you stay warm, hope you stay dry, and we'll see you here with an update a little bit later.